Earlier we referenced the remez that the Bamidbar Rabbah, in its commentary to the offerings of the Nesiim for the dedication of the Mishkan, brought the 2 bulls, the 5 rams, the 5 male goats, the 5 lambs, that the 2 bulls brought by the Nasi of Shevet Menashe reflected the fact that Shenechlak L'shnayim, that the tribe was divided into 2, and that V'lakach Shnei Chalakim Ba'aretz, Shevet Menashe received 2 portions in the land, Chetzyo Be'eva HaYarden, 1 segment of the tribe receiving a portion in Eva HaYarden, on the east side of the Jordan, V'chetzyo Be'eretz Canaan, while the other half received a portion along with the other 9 tribes in Eretz Canaan proper. A close reading of the Medrash points to the fact that the 2 portions allocated to Shevet Menashe were of equal value. Just as their allocation in Eretz Canaan reflected a positive, so too the allocation in Eva HaYarden was also deemed to be a positive. This in contrast to the portions allocated to Bnei Gad and Bnei Reuven, which, as we noted, after all is said and done, was deemed to be a negative. This positive aspect with respect to Shevet Menashe, in contrast to that of Shevet Gad and Reuven, can be better appreciated with the insights that we have established with respect to the 2 levels of implementation. The section allocated to Menashe in Eretz Canaan proper reflected the short-term fulfillment of the promises made at the Brit Ben Habatarim. The section of land they received on the east side of the Jordan was Moshe's link to the long-term agenda, that involving the Messianic era, and a symbolic gesture to the complete fulfillment of the promises made to Avraham at the Brit Ben Habatarim. This was a bona fide allocation, deemed to be part of Eretz Yisrael, in the words of the Medrash, functioning as a prelude to the full occupation in the Yemot HaMashiach. As to why Shevet Menashe was given this zechoot rather than to any of the other Shvatim, we will need to first look at the 4 incidents recorded in Sefer Bamidbar regarding the relationship between segments of the nation and Eretz Yisrael. The first, in Bamidbar 12, was the well-known incident of the Meraglim. A lesser-known event at the end of Bamidbar 14, once the decree had been given by God regarding the 40-year delay in entering Eretz Yisrael, there was the group of people who defied that decree against the wishes of Moshe Rabbeinu in an ill-fated attempt to conquer Eretz Yisrael without God's help. The third was the request from Bnei Gad, Bnei Reuven to remain on the east side of the Yarden. And then we have the 4th incident involving the Bnot Tzlafchad. In Bamidbar 26 we are told that Tzlafchad ben Chefer had no sons. He had 5 daughters, and we are informed as to who those 5 daughters were. This provides a backdrop to Bamidbar 27, in which the 5 daughters make a presentation, not just to Moshe, or to the Kohen Gadol at the time, or to the leaders of each of the Shvatim, but in the presence of virtually the entire nation at the Ohel Moed, most probably something quite unheard of in its day, in which they demanded a change in the laws of inheritance. Lama yigra shema avinu mitoch mishpachto. Why should the name of our deceased father be diminished over the fact ki ein lo ben, on account of the fact that he was unable to produce a male heir, a son, who would inherit his allocation of land? Change the law, they demanded. Ten lanu achuza b'toch achei avinu. Give us a holding, a presence, an entitlement, along with the other members of our tribe. It turns out that this is one of the 3 things that Moshe was at a loss as to what should be done. He brings the matter to God, who informs him that Naton titen lahem achuzat nachala, you are authorized to provide the Bnot Tzlafchad with an allotment, betoch achei avihem, within the territory designated for the tribe to which Tzlafchad belonged. Who was Tzlafchad? The opening pasuk of Bamidbar 27 identifies him as Tzlafchad ben Chefer ben Gilad ben Machir ben Menashe Lemishpachat Menashe ben Yosef. Bnot Tzlafchad were part of SHEVET MENASHE. And it is the contention of the Rebbe in the Sikha that on account of their public expression for the love of the land, in contrast to the Meraglim, in contrast to Bnei Reuven and Bnei Gad, that Moshe decided that they should be the conduit and the link to the messianic fulfillment of the promises made to Avraham, and therefore he chose SHEVET MENASHE as the tribe to settle on both sides of the Jordan, and both sections were to be deemed part of Eretz Israel. And finally, one more nuanced point, and that is a textual anomaly raised at the very beginning with respect to Bamidbar 32-33, that when it came to the actual allocation of land on the east side of the Jordan, we are told that Moshe allocated land to Bnei Gad, Bnei Reuven, and to a segment of the SHEVET MENASHE ben Yosef. And this is the same terminology that is used with respect to Tzlafchad, that Tzlafchad was a descendant of Menashe, Lemishpachat Menashe ben Yosef. In this way, we are linking the allocation of land to Menashe on the east side of the Jordan to the expression of love that the Bnot Tzlafchad had toward Eretz Israel.